Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith of Smith in the Black with Strat Time Report, and we got a whole bunch going on here. So let's take a look here. SPY gaps down and then rallies back. So it's bright green on the day, right? We're going to always watch that 60 because we're red on the week. An outside week took out the highs and the lows. And look at this on the month. Doing nothing. It's like they opened at 440.34. So it's moved 8 cents. So there's that on the month. So we're going to watch this 60 to see if it keeps climbing back here. But there's important things to know about how to trade a gap like this. So when the SPY gap's down like here, right, and starts rallying back, you always want to try and trade against people in losing positions. So how do we discover who's in a losing position? Well, when the SPY starts rallying back off the gap, anybody taking out yesterday's highs, that's what we want to go after. Why? Because if they're short, if you're short, you got what you wanted. You got the gap down, right? But once it starts rallying back and takes out yesterday's highs, everybody who got long yesterday goes underwater. So that's what you want to look for. So then when we had the new 60 here and it started to sell off down into here, then you want to go after anybody taking out the morning lows, right? Why? Because they got what they wanted. The market rallied back. But if your stock on the new hour, when the SPY starts to drop, takes out the morning low, everybody who tried to bottom pick goes underwater and stops them out. So that's something you want to look for. So we had this inside 60 to down, inside to up reversal. Now we got a new 60, right? And one of the things that I'll talk about a lot is watching all the sectors. So not everybody rallied back, right? That's a little bit of a problem for the SPY. The Qs, a little bit stronger. This is a 2 down, 2 up reversal. 2 down because it took out the lows, 2 up. 2-2 reversal on the 60. So far still good and potentially outside day. It's coming all the way back, even though it's still inside weak and down. Once again, doji monther doing nothing, right? Look at them chop them up, but good in here, right? And so going back and forth, minding the new 60 always. What's going on for the new hour, right? So if we go to the diamonds, Dow Jones, and the Dow Jones went inside 212 on the 60, but didn't get out of the mother bar. So the mother bar is this, any bar before an inside bar, right? Couldn't get out. So these are a multi-pattern in here. How are you going to get out of this? You got to get out of that opening range. And we've seen us get stuck in opening ranges in the futures a lot this summer. So that's a bit of a problem. Then if you go to small cappers, a little weaker, right? Still doji on the day, right? But still inside weak and down in bright red. Still inside of the month, but bright red. So the small cappers were having a little bit of an issue, and that has to do with a little bit of energy, and we'll get to that in a second. But like I was saying here, Netflix, boom. It's like right here. If you were short this thing and you got the gap down, as soon as it takes this out, you're screwed. Boom, off she goes. Inside weak to the upside. Green on the month. And I get this question a lot too: is the bars from the close from yesterday valid coming in to the day? And I'm like, yes, they certainly are, because you can see this here. Inside 60, pokes down, and then boom, Rev Strat 60 right here, 122, that then triggers the 2-2 up that sends them reeling, right? So that's one of the things you want to look for. We got a gap up at Macy's on the earnings. Macy's held, coming back to a previous range. We know Macy's been a lot higher, right? It also triggers this on the month. 2 down by taking out the previous low, 2 up, and you can see it's really frustrating for a lot of these guys who got stopped out here and here and here. Now they're coming back after them and be like, all right, these guys are actually making some money, so we'll see what comes out of that. Any 15ers? It's a little fast, but a little with the 30. Didn't quite get inside 30, but we'll see if that sets up again. Apple going to the highs as we speak. Nvidia, obviously the bunch of the earnings, and Nvidia got the SMH going, and Nvidia back into the inside week here. It poked down, now it's coming back, right? Big outside day, backed off in the last half an hour, but you can see this here on the 30. This is something we look for. The outside bar taking out both sides, the inside bar the 312, bam, off she goes. And that got the SMHers going as well. SMH coming back, potential outside day, still red on the week, still red on the month. So that's why we're going to mind all these 60s if they want to back these things off. Now you got MU going to the highs right now. How's MU doing? All right, you can see this mother bar issue here. All these guys stuck in that, but MU trying to come back up. 212 reversal off the 30 here, and then the inside 30 to the upside as I speak. Watching these 60s because we do have strength and weakness in this market, but futures trying to overpower some of that weakness. If you go to Autodesk, in Autodesk you can see this here. If you were short, right, you got what you wanted, the market gap down. But as soon as you take that out, boom, all these guys go underwater. Boom, off she goes, right? So we'll see if that sets up. This is also an outside bar, taking out both sides. Inside, boom, and then Momo hammer. So here you can see how it backs off. Like I said, we always want to trade against people in losing positions. Anybody who shorted this thing think it's going to roll back down. Once it comes back up to here and takes that out, you've got full-time frame continuity, almost no weekly, but you got the continuity, the daily, and the 60 back to the upside, and boom, anybody who did that got short in here and thought that they had their chance right here and didn't cover, boom, right here, sticking it to them. New 30 starting to come up here a little bit. If we go to YY, believe it or not, and one of the good things is one of these things not like the other, China, and inside day to the upside, right? Market tanking, but right in their face, and then you look for this. The slight lower low, boom, these two become an outside bar of that, right? After the outside bar, 3-2, stick it to them, which means that this selling was rejected and came back, and at this point, it was really getting rejected, right? Still going, so we'll see how that sets up going forward. If we go to Regeneron, and Regeneron, another thing you look for is anything that can go outside day, right? Once it comes through here, that's something I want to know about. And here's where they stopped them out on the 30, right here. 2 up, 2 down, boop. These guys are going to become an outside bar of that, right? Because you got a nice bright green month and week. Some exhaustion risk by going into the highs, but it is what it is. Watching these futures kind of dry up a little bit, as well they should. Wouldn't surprise me to get some inside 60s in the next hour, and because there's some things going up and some things going down, which I'm going to keep pointing out to you. If we go to Motorola, and Motorola, there we go. Big outside day here. So anytime it's coming back through here, that's something I want to know about, because especially the day previous was an outside day, right? That's something I want to know about? It is. Full time frame continuity back to the upside. Now stalls out here a little bit on the 30 like a lot of things here. If we go to letter A, Agilent, good boy. A lot of this stuff was a little quick here, but once you start coming back through that previous range, you're going to be an outside day. You can go after these things. There's different ways to do it, but you can. SNPS. Nice gapper, and here's your inside 30 Momo hammer. So gaps up. They tried to sell it off, but anybody who got stuck in here was hoping that it would roll back down. Didn't. Boom. Inside 30. Back to the upside. SNPS. If we go to ALKS, and we've been watching this for a while. Got a little tricky here. Outside day 2 days ago. That stops a bunch of these guys out. But we know that this thing is what we call, it used to be somebody. Here. On the monthly. Used to be a lot higher. It's still climbing up. There's been a lot of the videos I've made recently. So ALKS still trying to work. If you go to TSP. Little coming off the lows, and once again, outside week here. And you can see in the month here, stopped all these guys out. Where's your stop? Below that, and that. Boom, they're gone. Now you can start coming back up through the previous range. We'll see if that sets up again potential inside 30, so I'd keep an eye on that inside 30. Go to INMD, and INMD coming up to take out the week's high, back to previous range. A little fast, but you did have your inside 30 there. On the downside, China having some issues. Oh, Baba. Oh, boy. Trying to go inside and down on the 30 right now, and Baba has been in all sorts of trouble ever since his inside month. To the downside, Baba just having a real tough go of it. So Baba's still heavy. Energy was where we saw, when I talk about taking out the morning lows, when market backed off, energy started to back off. So energy here, maybe we get some 60s. XLE, OIH, because we know there's a lot of inside weeks to the downside. Both of those for one, and Conoco inside week to the downside per the vids. Outside month 3-2 to the downside. Now trying to stabilize just a tad here. QQQ staying firm here. It looks like the Dow's trying to firm up here, and the SPY is staying firm on the new 60. So when you have a new 60, remember, what's it doing? It's still firming up, right? At this point, would be a quite the rally, but could still go outside day or compound outside day, because once you're an outside week, an outside bar, they might, since they're willing to pay up and sell down, they might do it again, right? So we'll be aware of that. But in the energy, you got Oxy, and Oxy inside week to the downside. You've got CPE, Puke. This thing's been in all sorts of trouble for a while here. You can see that. Now trying to firm up on the 60s. We'll see. ALKS goes to the highs with Autodesk right now as I speak. Like I said, that new 60 starts to firm up, and that gives us Netflix. Inside and up off the 15. This is what you look for. Take them down, stop them out, inside, right back up. Netflix can go right back to the highs. If we go to DBX, and DBX here, shooter inside week to the downside, which sets up the potential outside month. That's a problem for this thing. 2 down on the day by taking out the lows, 2 up on the day yesterday, and then boom, right there. And you can see this is a good example of someone going to the lows when the market rallied back, right here. Boom. Stop them all out right there. If we go to Lyft, and Lyft having some issues here, and inside week to the downside, slight 2 up, boom. Now starting to recover just a little bit. Man, I can't believe I'm running out of time on this. We got some pandemic problems. We got Boeing still weak, RevStrat weaker. Inside week, 2 up, 2 down. Still struggling down here. So we want to kind of watch these 60s. Still struggling. Inside 60 right now. Boeing, you got letter H. Having some issues. You had early on pandemic names like Wynn Resorts. Here, still inside week and down, which tells us to look at LVS. Here, still having some problems now. Inside on the 60. All right, market's still starting to recover here on the new 60s. If we go to NTNX. Look out. Inside month to the downside. This thing's getting rocked here, right? And so you can see if you were long this thing and the market starts to rally back and you're still skirting the lows, you got all sorts of problems. So I would keep an eye on this. If we go to BNTX. And BNTX firms up by going inside on the 60, but you can see it's backing off on the month, trying to take out last week's lows. Inside day, poke up. This is a RevStrat to the downside. 1, 2, 2, and trying to come back through, but market firming up right now. Netflix indeed goes to the highs. So there you have it. Outside bar, 3, 1, 2 into the highs, right? Is that something we look for? Sure is. If we go to John Deere John Deere having some issues here now, taking out last week's lows. Was inside and up on the month, but now coming back down. So you can keep an eye on that with Cat. Looks like it's inside in the 60 now. Cat Tractor having some issues here, trying to take out last week's lows. That's just be a rev strat because it was an inside week. 2 up, stop all these guys out, and then boom, right back down. We'll see if this goes inside 64s. So right now, watching this market, but like I said, there's a lot of cross currents here. Small cappers weak. You got energies weak. You got transports down as well, like FedEx. So a mixed baggage out there still. So it wouldn't surprise me to do one of these things that we've been doing here this summer, stalling out and doing nothing on the futures for a while. But the good thing is we can discernibly see the strength and weakness in the sectors and the stocks. So that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith. This is Mr. Black with Strat Time Report.